Hello everyone, and welcome to Chinese with Pei. Today we're going to do something that I want to start doing about once a week, where I go over 5 radicals in the Chinese language. We're going to go over them in the order they appear in what's called the Kangxi Dictionary. It's the oldest dictionary in the world, and it divided the Chinese characters up into radicals. And it wasn't the first time that had happened, but that's what this dictionary used, because the Chinese characters are pronounced differently depending on the dialect being spoken. And so for me, the easiest example to give where I have some level of authority in the matter is like in Minnan, the character for you, ni, in Mandarin is ni, but in Minnan, it's li or lei. And so it can get really confusing, get really different. And that's the Mandarin dialect and the Minnan dialect. But it divided them up into radicals. And so we're going to go over those about 5 at a time. And I'm going to try and do a radical video once a week. So the first radical, not surprisingly, based on Chinese logic, is E. Simply a horizontal stroke. Pinyin is Y, I, first tone. E, and it simply means the number 1. Among other symbolic meanings that are all inherently related to this number 1 idea. So like I say, this is the first radical. The second radical is a horizontal stroke, which you remember a horizontal stroke is called a shu, but this radical is called guan, guan. So it's G-U-N, third tone, guan, guan. And this radical typically means stick. But it can also be more symbolic of a string or things like that, where it's something to bind together. Or it could also be, for example, in the character zhong, there's its radical right there. This means middle, and as you can see, this is the middle in many different ways. It's the middle. That's how, so it can be symbolic of that. Or in a similar character, chuan, a string of things, chuan. You can kind of see how it represents that string. So it's guan. Okay, so the third radical is like this. Yep, just that. And it's, so we discussed in the previous video, this stroke is a dian. This radical, however, is a zhu, zhu, Z-H-U, third tone, zhu. And either way, it represents a dot or something small. You'll see it in words like zhu, Lord, where it's a little bit above the common man. So zhu. Alright, so the third radical shares the same name as the stroke that it comes from. It is a pie, pie. It doesn't really have a meaning. This radical, there's a few of them that don't carry meaning on their own, and this is one of them. It's simply used as a way of dividing characters. grouping characters together. They have this radical in common, the Pie. Right, and the fifth and final radical that we're going to go over today in this video is probably the most complex of the 5, and it kind of looks like an upside down 2. It is pronounced E, and this is one just like the first one, E, where they're also a character in which they're their own radical. Okay, E. And this character is kind of an interesting one in that it also means 1. But it can also mean 2. Because it's the second of 10 of what are called the celestial stems. And it's a concept it's a way of ordering the universe. There's celestial stems and terrestrial branches. And we'll probably go over those in another video, as you'll actually see them used quite frequently if you ever go to live in China. But this can also be a Chinese surname, E. So that's kind of another little add-in for you on that one. So that's those 5 radicals for this week. I hope that was helpful. And if it was, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you next time on Chinese with Pei.